Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A dissolute man in fashionable society. The descendants of one individual. People viewed as members of a group. We need more young blood in this organization. Smear with blood, as in a hunting initiation rite, where the face of a person is smeared with the blood of the kill. Temperament or disposition. A person of hot blood. The fluid, red invertebrates, that is pumped through the body by the heart and contains plasma, blood cells, and platelets. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to the tissues and carries away waste products. A dissolute man in fashionable society. A recklessly extravagant consumer. Recklessly wasteful. Unrestrained by convention or morality. Examine hastily. A dissolute man in fashionable society. Scrape gently. Degree of deviation from a horizontal plane. A long-handled tool with a row of teeth at its head, used to move leaves or loosen soil. Gather with a rake. Rake leaves. Level or smooth with a rake. Rake gravel. Move through with or as if with a rake. She raked her fingers through her hair. Sweep the length of. The gunfire raked the coast. A dissolute man in fashionable society. A dissolute man in fashionable society. An opening made forcibly as by pulling apart. There was a rip in his pants. Take without the owner's consent. A stretch of turbulent water in a river or the sea caused by one current flowing into or across another current. The act of rending or ripping or splitting something. He gave the envelope a vigorous rip. Tear or be torn violently. The curtain ripped from top to bottom. Criticize or abuse strongly and violently. The candidate ripped into his opponent mercilessly. Cut, wood, along the grain. Move precipitously or violently. The tornado ripped along the coast. A dissolute man in fashionable society. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. The descendants of one individual. The descendants of one individual. The descendants of one individual. Ancestry of a purebred animal. A downward slope or bend. The descendants of one individual. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. Properties attributable to your ancestry. A movement downward. The act of changing your location in a downward direction. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. The descendants of one individual. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. The number of lines in a piece of printed material. Inherited properties shared with others of your bloodline. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. A rate of payment for written material that is measured according to the number of lines submitted. The kinship relation between an individual and the individual's progenitors. The descendants of one individual. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Jupiter was the origin of the radiation. Properties attributable to your ancestry. He comes from good origins. An event that is a beginning, a first part or stage of subsequent events. The point of intersection of coordinate axes, where the values of the coordinates are all zero. The source of something's existence or from which it derives or is derived. The rumor had its origin in idle gossip. The state of being a parent. The kinship relation of an offspring to the parents. The descendants of one individual. The descendants of one individual. Ancestry of a purebred animal. Having a list of ancestors as proof of being a purebred animal. Line of descent of a purebred animal. An eye having a single lens. The descendants of one individual. A tree diagram showing a reconstruction of the transmission of manuscripts of a literary work. The handle of a handgun or the butt end of a rifle or shotgun are part of the support of a machine gun or artillery gun. The rifle had been fitted with a special stock. The merchandise that a shop has on hand. Persistent thickened stem of herbaceous perennial plant. Any of several Old World plants cultivated for their brightly colored flowers. Repeated too often, overfamiliar through overuse. A stalk answer. Put forth and grow sprouts or shoots. The descendants of one individual. Any of various ornamental flowering plants of the genus Malcolmia. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. Have on hand. A supply of something available for future use. Any animals kept for use or profit. A certificate documenting the shareholder's ownership in the corporation. The value of his stocks doubled during the past year. Amass so as to keep for future use or sale or for a particular occasion or use. Let's stock coffee as long as prices are low. Regularly and widely used or sold. A stock item. Liquid in which meat and vegetables are simmered, used as a basis for e.g. soups or sauces. She made gravy with a base of beef stock. An ornamental white cravat. A plant or stem onto which a graft is made, especially a plant grown specifically to provide the root part of grafted plants. Equip with a stock. Stock a rifle. Lumber used in the construction of something. They will cut round stock to 1 inch diameter. Provide or furnish with a stock of something. Stock the larder with meat. Routine. A stock answer. Supply with fish. Stock a lake. Supply with livestock. Stock a farm. The capital raised by a corporation through the issue of shares entitling holders to an ownership interest, equity. He owns a controlling share of the company's stock. The handle end of some implements or tools. He grabbed the cue by the stalk. The reputation and popularity a person has. His stock was so high he could have been elected mayor. A dissolute person, usually a man who is morally unrestrained. A tool for rounding corners or edges. A dissolute person, usually a man who is morally unrestrained. Unrestrained by convention or morality. A dissolute person, usually a man who is morally unrestrained. Successive generations of kin. The study or investigation of ancestry and family history. Successive generations of kin. The common people generally. Power to the people. The body of citizens of a state or country. The Spanish people. Fill with people. Stalin wanted to people the empty steppes. Furnish with people. Members of a family line. His people have been farmers for generations. Plural. Any group of human beings, men or women or children, collectively. Old people. A blemish made by dirt. Coat with plaster. Daub the wall. Cover. A surface, by smearing, a substance, over it. Daub the ceiling with plaster. An unskillful painting. Apply to a surface. Daub paint onto the wall. Material used to daub walls. An act that brings discredit to the person who does it. Charge falsely or with malicious intent. Attack the good name and reputation of someone. Make a smudge on. Soil by smudging. A thin tissue or blood sample spread on a glass slide and stained for cytologic examination and diagnosis under a microscope. A blemish made by dirt. Slanderous defamation. Cover. A surface, by smearing, a substance, over it. Smear the wall with paint. Stain by smearing or daubing with a dirty substance. Your usual mood. An adjustment of the intervals, as in tuning a keyboard instrument, so that the scale can be used to play in different keys. Excessive emotionalism or irritability and excitability, especially when displayed openly. Your usual mood. He has a happy disposition. An attitude of mind, especially one that favors one alternative over others. The act or means of getting rid of something. A natural or acquired habit or characteristic tendency in a person or thing. A swelling with a disposition to rupture. The quality of being funny. Put into a good mood. The liquid parts of the body. Middle Ages, one of the 4 fluids in the body whose balance was believed to determine your emotional and physical state. The trait of appreciating, and being able to express, the humorous. A message whose ingenuity or verbal skill or incongruity has the power to evoke laughter. A characteristic, habitual or relatively temporary, state of feeling. The quality of being funny. I fail to see the humor in it. Put into a good mood. The liquid parts of the body. Middle Ages, one of the 4 fluids in the body whose balance was believed to determine your emotional and physical state. The humors are blood and phlegm and yellow and black bile. The trait of appreciating, and being able to express, the humorous. She didn't appreciate my humor. A message whose ingenuity or verbal skill or incongruity has the power to evoke laughter. A characteristic, habitual or relatively temporary, state of feeling. He was in a bad humor. The liquid parts of the body.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.